Alright, so this is going to be a review for the Fantastic Four World's Greatest Heroes, which is the animated series that anybody may or may not have seen. I'm surprised nobody reviewed it before. Maybe it's just not really worth the effort, but I figured what the hell I'd do it. I finished watching it this past weekend, and I have to say, in all honesty, the show is completely... It's hit or miss, but it's a little more of a hit than it is a miss for me. In the long run, comparing the four major animated series that Marvel Studios has done in the latter half of the 2000s, this is not as good as Spectacular Spider-Man or Wolverine and the X-Men, but it is certainly much, much better than Iron Man Armored Adventures. The show is created, of course, to be very accessible to kids in particular who have seen the movies. Case in point, the origin of the Fantastic Four, which was taken from the movies, has all of them getting on the ship and being bombarded by the cosmic rays, but Victor Von Doom is a regular person who is along with them, and we have that, and other mainstays from the movies, which is not really much. I think the only thing being that Alicia Masters is in this, and she is still African American. Although for some reason she kind of starts out as being in a relationship with Ben at the... I'd say she's probably in like the first... she's in the first 6 or 7 episodes, and then she's in the episode in the middle of the series where they deal with the Puppet Master, but after the first few she just kind of drops out and she's never really seen again. I like what they did with some of the characters in this. Sue is pretty cool. Reed is interesting. Johnny is annoying as I'll get out in some ways, but you know, he's still kind of fun sometimes. They kind of retain the personalities that they also had in the movies. And I actually like what they've done with the Thing too. They've changed up the costumes, so they're not really doing the movies, but they have lighter colored costumes. But you know, they look like NASCAR outfits is what they look like. And I kind of like what they've done with the Thing's costume too. They've given him I say they maybe drew a little bit on the Ultimate version of the Thing by giving him pants instead of the giant briefs that he usually wore in the comics. And instead of putting the logo on him, he basically has the logo tattooed onto his chest, which is kind of cool. The Baxter Building is fun. The characters in there can range from annoying to funny, and you know, the humor is very childish throughout this series. It's very immature at some points, although there are points throughout the series that it can be quite hysterical, and those episodes I'll get to in a moment. The characterizations of the Fantastic Four are alright. Many of the neighbors are okay. The villains, which I think is probably the biggest thing I want to talk about in this, are fun. I seriously think that this series... before I get to the villains, I think this series is probably the best Fantastic Four animated series that has been put out. And while the 90s was fun and it was kind of a homage to, you know, almost adapting stories page by page from the comics, this has breathed a little more of a personality into it. You know, the Fantastic Four of the 90s was fun, but when Marvel actually tried to set out and make this show a little bit hipper, I think that they've actually done something, and I'm not entirely disinterested by what I've watched with this. Characters are fun. Villains are definitely good in this. You know, particularly Dr. Doom, of course. I love the design of the character. I love the voice. I love how much of a badass that he is throughout the series. And he even retains very much of the arrogance and the comic book personality of what Dr. Doom actually is. I also love Annihilus, who was in this show, who is very much also a badass, but made that much more of a badass by the fact that he has I don't know what his name is, but apparently somebody decided to have the good idea of giving Annihilus the voice of the Cobra Commander from the 80s G.I. Joe, which is awesome. The Puppet Master is kind of fun. He's got John Witherspoon's voice, or the voice of Grandpa from the Boondocks. The stuff with him is hysterical. The Mole Man, who I pretty much regard as the Penguin of the Marvel Universe, is a lot of fun to watch. And he has much more better thought out motivations than what the Penguin ever thought about having. And then we have some downsides with particular villains too. Case in point, well, we do have Ronan the Accuser in here, but I kind of find him a little stale in some ways. But you know, they could have done worse with him. I'm at least happy to have some halfway decent version of Ronan done throughout the series. The Skrulls, on the other hand, the Skrulls are drawn excellently, but they're complete idiots. What the staple was when the Skrulls were introduced in the Fantastic Four the first time was that they were trying to infiltrate the Earth, and the Fantastic Four managed to scare them off by actually showing them like monster movies, and you know, the aliens believed them and they left, but they came back and they got smarter after that mistake. The Skrulls are completely gullible dumbasses throughout this series. Even Super Skrull to a point. Although the design on him is cool, I will give them that. And we also have some great nods to other monsters. We actually get Giganto brought into this, which is pretty cool. And there's even the great hero-villain face-off in the only adaptation of the comics, or at least for the Fantastic Four's part, where they actually adapted the Fantastic Four's point of view from the contest champions story, which is awesome. And that episode in itself is completely hysterical. Made much more so. Well, besides that episode, any of them that don't feature any of them that have the Mole Man in them, the one episode with the Impossible Man was introduced. It's very childish humor, but I was busting my sides at this. The jokes were extremely funny with this. I found myself laughing quite a bit. And there's even like a face-off of the Fantastic Four pitted off against Ronan, Super Skrull, Impossible Man, and Annihilus. And the stuff that takes place in there is completely hysterical. This is very much a family-oriented show, and I found myself laughing at a lot of the games that the Grandmaster put them through. Even something as simple as a spelling bee for taking place in between the Human Torch and Annihilus, I found extremely hilarious. Let's see. A lot of the characters that they decided to cameo into this too were pretty cool. She-Hulk was okay. I liked her while she was there, because it was the episode where they had the whole, you know, to beat Ben Grimm again story arc, and She-Hulk was brought in there as sort of a replacement Fantastic Four member, and it was good while she was there. They brought in Ant-Man. Anytime Ant-Man shows up, I'm not really impressed with him. He sucked in this. Let's see, who else? The Hulk was brought into it. I actually didn't like their take on the Hulk in this one, but it still was kind of funny with him. The Iron Man episode is the best outside character which is brought in. Iron Man and Doom actually face off in a fight in this, and it's just a great episode because Doom winds up taking over a lot of Stark's armor, and Iron Man has to team up with the Fantastic Four, and Iron Man and Doom go one-on-one, which is just awesome. If they do Iron Man later on, you know, in the Avengers, hopefully we could have a face-off in between him and Doctor Doom. I would absolutely love seeing that. Unfortunately, I think this is about the closest that we're going to get to that. But, you know, all in all, the show is not bad. If you can find this, I actually bought this in all damn places. I bought it out of the $5 bin at Walmart. So, you know, you're getting 26 episodes for $5. That was probably just a fluke right there, but you might be doing good to find it for about $10 or so on Amazon or used in a local movie store. But if you get a chance to see this, I actually would recommend watching this. As I said, it's not as good as Spider-Man or Wolverine and the X-Men, or far be it from Avengers, but certainly much better than Iron Man Armored Adventures. So check it out.